Hey everyone, today we're going to be working on this challenging alphanumerics question. So we have there plus 3 plus strike equals matches. The rules are that you cannot have 0 as the first number of any number, and each letter corresponds to a different number. Let's get right into it. The first step you want to do is figure out what's the largest takeover you can have. So when I say takeover, I mean that, for example, in this question we have 14 plus 9. So we do 4 plus 9 equals 13. And then we would take over 1. So that's what I meant by takeover. And then you have, 23. So you have to figure out what's the largest takeover you can have. And in this case, we could just do, since we have 4 numbers, we can just do 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9, which equals 36, and therefore the largest takeover would be 3. And now that means that we can try to figure out what m is. So since this is a single number, the largest possible one would be 9. So if we do 9 plus a largest takeover of 3, 9 plus 3 would be 12. And so that means that the largest takeover over here would be 1, and therefore m must be 1. Now that we have m sorted out, so now we can look into s and a. So first of all, let's look at s. So you can see we have one s over here and another s over here. And so if this s over here, it has to be an even number because we have 4 e's over here. 4 of the same number over here. So 4 times any number is 4 times any number is an even number. And so that means that this s must be an even number. So s equals even. Now that we know that s is an even number, let's look back at this s over here. This s, since we know that we have to be able to make this one takeover over here, then it can only be 7, 8, or 9. Because the largest takeover is 3. So the largest takeover over here would be 3. So if 7 plus 3 is 10, we can do 8 plus 2 is 10. Or 8 plus 3 is also 11. And then we can also do 9 plus 3, 9 plus 2, 9 plus 1. So the only possible ones would be 7, 8, and 9. But since we already know that it has to be even, then that means the only possible one would be 8. So now we figured out that s equals 8. Perfect. Let's write this out on this side so we can have a new nice equation here. There, perfect. So we have some blanks filled out. And now that we know the values of m and s, we can also figure out the value of a. So we've said that the largest takeover is 3. So if we do 8 plus 3, 8 is s, so if we do 8 plus 3, it would result in 11. We can't have 11 because that would make a 1, and we can't have repeating numbers for the different letters. So that means a cannot be 1. And so we can also have, the only other option would be to have a takeover of 2 over here. A takeover of 2. And that means that a must be 0. So now we've also figured out a. Perfect. Now we figured out this takeover and we figured out the values of m, s, and a. Now let's work from our e's. So there's only 2 options to have for e. One would be E could either be 2 or it could be 7. If it were 2, it would equal to 8 because 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. Or if it were 7, it would be 28. So 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 28. And so both of them result in this 8 over here. And that's what we need. So now that we know it's either 2 or 7, let's just choose a random one to try. So we're going to choose 2 for now. 2. So let's just fill those in really quick. We can fill them in with a different, yes, fill those in real quick. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Great. Now we have a bunch of new variables filled in, and we can keep trying to solve. So what to do next is if we can take a look over here, right, in this line over here, we'll notice that something plus something plus something plus E equals E. And that signifies that R plus K must equal to either 0, 10, or 20. Or 30, but I don't think we can reach that because we have R plus K, and that's only 3 numbers, and 3 times 9 is 27. So we cannot reach 30, so it's either has to be equal to 0, 10, or 20. And it cannot be equal to 0 because, well, we have different letters. So it has to be equal to either 10 or 20. Now that we have that in mind, let's think about it this way. R plus K equals, let's write that down over here. It's a little bit less messy. R plus K equals either 10 or 20. What does that mean? That means that because R plus R has to be an even number, the result of R plus R, the sum of R plus R has to be an even number because 2 times anything is even. So that means to make 10 or 20, K must also be even. So K must be even. And now let's take a look of what numbers we still have left that are not been used yet. So far we've used 1, we've used 8, we've used 0, we've used 2. And so K can either be 6 or 4. That's the only 2 options left. Right? So let's take a look back at this. Right, if we take another look back, we find that we have T equals T. So now that we have that, we already know that this takeover must be 2. Then what we can start to think about is what number fulfills those requirements. So let's think from the very beginning. Let's do 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4. That's definitely not going to be able to do because the largest takeover we can have here is either 1, 2, or 3, or 0, I suppose. So we know that since 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 4, plus 4 plus 0 plus 1 plus 2 or plus 3, none of those can reach 4. None of those can reach another 1 to be here. And so that's definitely not the answer. And we're going to do it same thing with 2, the same thing with 3. So for example, if we had, we already used 2, so we can't use that again. in this instance, but let's try a 3 then. So if we had 3, 3, 3, 3, 3 times 4 is 12, and then 12, 2 plus 1 would be able to reach 3. This is true. However, that only makes a takeover of 1, and we cannot have that. We have to have a takeover of 2. And so 3 also will not work. So let's look at any other ways that might work. We can do 4 times 4 is 16, that won't work. 4 times 5 is 20, that won't work. 4 times 6 is 24. Now that might work. So we have 24, if this was all 6. 24, so that means we have to have a takeover of 2, and that makes this 6. Now that's a perfect one, that one works. Let's see if there's any other options, any other possible options. So let's try 7, 4 times 7 is 28, that won't work. 4 times 8 is 32, that won't work because it already does a takeover of 3, and therefore 6 is the only option we have for t. So that's great, we have another variable listed out. Or another letter, t equals 6. All right, perfect. So now that we know t equals 6, then we can take out 6 over here, and that means that k equals 4. We just got a lot more done. We're almost there, guys. 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. And we also figured out k was equal to 4. And so now that we know that k equals to 4, then we also will have to figure out that r is equal to 6 because, well, r cannot be equal to anything else that makes 20. Well, r could equal r could equal 8, but we already used 8 here, and this is a set value. So that means that r has to be 3. Because 3 plus 3 equals 6, plus 4 is 10. So perfect, we have r figured out as well. And 3 over here. Oh, and a 3 over here too. Great. We have a bunch of things figured out now. Let's figure out the takeover of here. So 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 4 equals 212. So we'll have a takeover of 1. We will have a takeover of 1. Okay, now we're going to get into this column. This column right here, we're going to get into the h's. So we already know that the takeover of this will be 2. And so, since we know that, there can only be a few choices for h. Well, actually, let's list out our mini list here of the numbers we still have left to use. So we don't have 0 anymore. Let's do it this way. We don't have 0 anymore. We don't have 1 anymore. We don't have 2. We don't have 3. We don't have 4. We don't have... Oh, we do have 5. We can use 5. We don't have 6. We can use 7. We don't have 8. And we can use 9. Those are the only 3 choices left. So with that in mind, let's figure out what h can be. The takeover has to be 2. And so 3 times 5 equals 15 plus 3, 15 plus 3, 18. It is technically possible. But if we were to add a takeover here of 2, that would make this 0, and we can't have that. And if we were to have a takeover of 3, this would be 1. So we can't have that either, so it cannot be 5. And as for 9, we cannot have that either because 3 times 9 is 27, which would work. But the problem is that 3 times 9 is 27, and then we have to add this 3 over here, so that would already make it 30, and we cannot have a takeover of 3. We have to have a takeover of 2. So that means the only thing left would be 7, and that is our H. And now we have our H's laid out, which is really, really great. H equals 7. Perfect. And now the only things left is I and C to figure out. Now, since we know that 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus something has to be end in 7, 2 plus 2 plus 3 is already 7, so that means we have to be able to somehow make this last one equal to 10 somehow, or 0, but we cannot use 0, and that means the only choice we can have, and we already have this takeover over here, so that's great, would be to make it 9, and with that added takeover, we have 10. And so we know that I equals 9. And then our last thing to fill in would be C, and that is quite easy. Let's just do the math. That makes this 25. There. That is literally it. We have finally figured out this question. Our C equals 5, and that is the end. Let me just write up a more concise answer log. We have M equal to 1. We have A equal to 0. We have E equal to 2. You see, we didn't get the chance to try 7, but we already figured out that 2 works, so we're going to go with 2. We have R equals to 3. K equals 4. C equals 5. T equals 6. H equals 7. S equals 8. And finally, I equals 9. And there we have it. Our answer log right here. Perfect, done. It adds up. We can even do this on the calculator just to make sure. 67,232 plus 67,232 plus 67,322 plus 863,942 equals to 1065728. And there you have it. This is the answer to this very challenging alphanumerics question. I hope this was helpful. I hope everyone understood. And thank you so much for watching. See you next time.